Welcome to Catalyst 910 in high energy succession in this video on the French Revolution. We will explore the social order, the fall of the monarchy, and the birth of modern rights as part of this academic overview.
This video is structured into 6 parts, covering French society, the outbreak of the Revolution, the constitutional era, the Republic and Reign of Terror, the role of women, and the legacy of slavery and Napoleon. On July 14, 1789, Paris was in a state of high alarm due to rumors that the military had been ordered to fire on citizens. In response, People's Militia formed and began raiding government buildings to search for arms and ammunition. This search led the crowd to the Bastille. The subsequent attack and fall of this fortress became a key catalyst for the French Revolution, symbolizing the end of the monarch's absolute power. The fall of the Bastille was significant as it demonstrated the collective power of ordinary citizens. It shattered the myth of the king's unassailable reign and is now celebrated annually as Bastille Day. In this section, we examine French society during the late 18th century, focusing on social inequalities, the estate system, and economic strain under the old regime. In 1774, Louis XVI ascended the throne at age 20. His marriage to Marie Antoinette was initially unpopular, and he inherited a state treasury already drained by war and royal spending. The French treasury was empty due to prolonged European wars, the high costs of maintaining Versailles, debts from the American War of Independence, and high-interest loans that consumed a significant portion of the budget. To maintain state operations, the government needed more income. King Louis XVI's response was to increase taxes on the population, a measure taken despite an existing debt of over 2 billion livres. French society was divided into 3 legal estates, the first estate consisting of the clergy, the second estate of the nobility, and the third estate representing the commoners, who made up 90% of the population. The first estate, the clergy, held high social prestige. They enjoyed birthright privileges, were exempt from state taxes, owned vast amounts of land, and collected a religious tax called the tithe. The second estate, the nobility, held key state and military posts. They were also exempt from taxes, extracted feudal dues from peasants, and forced them to work on their lands and roads without pay. The third estate was a diverse group, including the wealthy middle class, peasants and farmers, and the urban poor, all of whom struggled under economic pressures. The taxation system weighed heavily on the third estate. This included the tithe, paid to the church, the taille, paid to the king, and various indirect taxes on essential commodities. Finally, the struggle to survive was intensified by a population boom, food shortages, and rising prices for bread, which created severe subsistence crises for the people. A subsistence crisis occurred when bad harvests led to a scarcity of grains. This caused prices for staple foods like bread to soar, leaving many unable to afford enough to eat, which in turn triggered food riots and increased vulnerability to disease. As the century progressed, a new middle class emerged. Wealthy from trade and manufacturing, these educated professionals believed that social status should be earned through individual merit rather than birthright. Enlightenment philosophers played a vital role in shifting public opinion. Thinkers like John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu debated ideas of freedom and equality, challenging the concept of absolute monarchical power. John Locke specifically argued against the divine right of kings, suggesting authority must come from the consent of the governed. These revolutionary ideas were spread to the common people through printed works read aloud in public spaces. Jean-Jacques Rousseau expanded on these ideas by proposing a, quote, social contract between citizens and their leaders, asserting that the people have a right to replace authorities who fail to protect their natural rights. Montesquieu proposed a government structure divided into 3 branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary, to ensure a balance of power and safeguard citizen rights. We now move to the second section of this video, the outbreak of the Revolution, covering events from the Estates General to the collapse of the feudal order. In May 1789, King Louis XVI called a meeting of the Estates General to address the state's financial crisis and approve new taxes. This assembly included representatives from all 3 estates. Conflict arose over the voting system. Traditionally, each estate held one collective vote, which consistently outvoted the third estate. They demanded that every member have an individual vote, but the king refused, leading the third estate to protest. In June 1789, these representatives declared themselves the National Assembly. Meeting on a tennis court at Versailles, they took an oath to create a constitution for France, led by influential figures like Mirabeau and Abbé Sieyès. While the assembly gathered, the public faced bread shortages and rumors of plots against them. This atmosphere of fear led to peasant revolts in the countryside, with people attacking manor houses and destroying records. In August 1789, the monarchy finally acknowledged the National Assembly. Consequently, the feudal system was abolished, church privileges were revoked, and church lands were confiscated to support the state treasury. Our third section examines France's transition into a constitutional monarchy, including the development of the Constitution of 1791. The primary goal of the 1791 Constitution was to limit the power of the monarch by distributing it among three distinct government branches, with the legislative power held by an indirectly elected National Assembly. Political rights were divided between, quote, active citizens, men over 25 who paid sufficient taxes, and passive citizens, which included all women, youth, and those who did not meet the tax criteria. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen established natural and inalienable rights, including the right to life, freedom of speech, and equality before the law. The state was tasked with the primary duty of protecting these rights for every citizen. Key articles of the Declaration included Article 1, which states all men are born and remain free and equal, Article 3, which places sovereignty in the nation, and Article 6, which defines law as the expression of the general will. Political symbols were used to educate the masses. For example, broken chains represented freedom from slavery, a bundle of rods symbolized unity, and a red Phrygian cap signified a slave who had become free. We now move to the fourth section of this video. France abolishes the monarchy and becomes a republic, covering war, the Jacobin Revolution, and the Reign of Terror. Despite signing the Constitution, Louis XVI entered secret negotiations with the King of Prussia to regain absolute power. In response, the National Assembly declared war against Prussia and Austria in 1792. The Jacobins were a political club led by Maximilien Robespierre, primarily representing the less prosperous sections of society. They were often called sans-culottes, because they wore long striped trousers instead of the knee breeches favored by the nobility. In 1792, the Jacobins stormed the Tuileries Palace, and in September, France was declared a republic. Subsequently, in 1793, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were executed for treason. The period from 1793 to 1794 is known as the Reign of Terror. Under Robespierre, the state implemented severe controls and used the guillotine to punish anyone suspected of being an enemy of the Republic. Robespierre's government introduced strict price ceilings and rationing for essential goods like bread and meat. He also promoted social equality by replacing traditional titles with the terms citoyen and citoyenne. The Reign of Terror ended when Robespierre himself was convicted and guillotined in 1794. A new constitution created the Directory, an executive of 5 members, but political instability eventually paved the way for Napoleon Bonaparte. The fifth section of this video examines the role of women in the revolution and their struggle for political rights. Women were active participants in the revolution, often working as domestic servants or in manual trades. They formed around 60 political clubs, such as the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women, to voice their demands for equality. Olympe de Gouges was a notable figure who wrote the Declaration of the Rights of Woman and Citizen in 1791. While the government eventually made schooling for girls compulsory, women did not win the right to vote until 1946.
Slavery was abolished in French colonies by the Jacobin regime in 1794, but later reintroduced by Napoleon. It was finally abolished in 1848. Napoleon eventually crowned himself emperor in 1804, before his final defeat at Waterloo in 1815. Thanks for watching Catalyst 910.